Okay, so we are picking up where we left off with our development of FS11, which we have titled, at least tentatively, Disease or Blessing. And the reason it's called Disease or Blessing is because of how blessed restoration could affect pregnancy. Okay, so we have our background, we have our blurb, we know where we're going. We're going to be doing this long sea voyage along through the coast. To that end, we're going to be using the gritty rest variant. All right, so the gritty rest variant means that we're going to treat an 8-hour rest once per day as a short rest, and we're going to be treating, in order to get a long rest, we need a full week. All right, so that's actually pretty good. So if you look at the coast, if you look at the trip, given medieval transport technology, we are good with that. We're going to, we'll spend 7 days or so traveling, and then we'll disembark and then take our long rest before closing with Baying Cross in what we presume will be episode 12. Okay, so now I've got to say, okay, so I'm going to have this long sea voyage. I could have a long rest in the middle. I could have 7 days in the middle, because there's enough time for that if you think about it. If you think about it. We're covering roughly 1,000 miles. We could do that in say 10 or 12 days with the long rest in the middle, 7 days without anything happening along the way. So that's a consideration. So we think, okay, we could have a long rest in the middle. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the rules for the guidelines for encounters. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm wanting to discern how many encounters do I need to get. So this particular campaign, Phase Secrets, the goal is to move the PCs one level per episode if they get all of the experience points in the module, in the adventure. Okay, so I'm going to look at the experience point breakdown. We're going to be going from 11th to 12th level. Determining ability scores. Yeah. Ability modifiers. Here we go. All right, so 11th to 12th level, we need 15,000 experience points. That's not very many. That is not very many at all. If you look at the number we needed to get from 10th to 11th, right? That's probably going to be quite manageable. Okay, so I need 15,000 experience points, and I'm going to try to build these out of medium to hard encounters. So looking over here at the DM's rules, building combat encounters for 11th level PCs. Right, so I got 1,600 for a medium, 2,400 for a hard. So if I look at 15,000 and divide it by, say, 2,000, something in the middle between a medium and a hard, that means that in less than 8 encounters, I can get the PCs from 11th level, 12th level. Right, so that's going to be one adventuring day, right? So one adventuring day, we're going to build probably 8 encounters. 8 encounters is a nice solid adventuring day. Right? And the way we're going to build, and I say encounters, and I should really say events. I'm going to say resource taxing events. So what we're going to have is then over the course of this 10-day voyage, the PCs will be exposed to 8 resource taxing events. And so what I want those to be is I probably want 4 actual combat encounters. Yeah, 4 actual combat encounters. We'll get to that in a second. Maybe 5. I want a skills challenge that can consume resources. And then I want 3 events that are not going to put us into initiative that will force the PCs to use resources. So what I mean by these, it could be an environmental effect, like a thunderstorm that yields damage, or it could be like a poison effect, right? Or a disease, is probably almost certainly a disease. I put a disease in almost every module just because diseases historically were so important in history. Most of the death in human history actually comes from disease. If you look at, for example, the American Civil War, the diseases, particularly those affiliated with imprisonment of captured soldiers, killed far more than the battlefield deaths, right? So, and that is often the case up until you have the Geneva Convention. So we really like diseases because it really models what medieval society was about. So we're going to have a disease for sure. We are probably going to have a thunderstorm, right? So we'll have a storm, disease. We may have some sort of a curse involved. I like curses, but that would require. I don't know if this one's going to lend itself to a curse. Right. So let's look then. What we want is we want a theme, right? So. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the PCs on a boat. And the boat is going to seem really good. It's going to seem like, oh yeah, things are fine. And but the PCs may not go on the boat. PCs may have an aversion to boat. They may just decide, no, we're going to go overland. We don't want to go boat. We're going to try to make the boat very tempting. We're going to make it clear that it's much faster to get there by boat. But the mechanic we're going to have involved is that our heroes, as they may not, even if they're human variants, they're going to have feats, but probably they're going to have traits that make them susceptible to magic item crafting. So in Dimgaard, almost all magic items require a sentient creature sacrifice, right? The final step of crafting involves binding a creature's eternal soul to the magic item to fuel the enchantment, to fuel the magic. And as long as that magic item is intact, that creature, it cannot be raised. Even true resurrection and wish are not. They would be able to destroy the magic item probably, but they wouldn't automatically recover the soul. The soul is permanently imprisoned. In fact, it is a form of capital punishment, the most extreme capital punishment in Dimgaard. So, because it is so extreme, right? There aren't a lot of powerful magic items in Dimgaard, and because of that, they have an elevated value. They're just basically priceless. But there are there is a subculture of magic item crafters who would greatly treasure having the PCs as targets for their crafting. So that's going to form the underlying basis, is we're going to have this very sophisticated, very dedicated weapon item crafter with designs on the PCs. So he's going to be trying to capture at least one PC. And then we will see if our heroes can escape that. So with that in mind, a long voyage, probably along the sea. Let's see what sort of random creatures we can find. All right. So the first. So I'm going to go over here to Cobalt Fight Club, and I've already done this for a lot of levels, but what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for the encounter structure that will allow me to scale the PCs. So for 11th level creatures, I've already got. So one CR4 per PC, a CR3 and a CR2, or 2 CR2s per PC. So the first encounter in almost all Dimgaard modules are going to be a random encounter. Usually it's something like a beast. So I'm looking for something on the order of a CR4 for one 11th level PC. Yeah, there's not really any good beasts there, is there? Aberrations? A Chul? Chul could be interesting. Let's take a quick look at Chuls. Page 40. Yeah, Chuls. They are subterranean. The problem with Chul, while Chul does look interesting, there are two problems. They generally aren't roaming, right? They are guiding a particular location, and that's probably not going to work for us. So that was aberration. These constructs, horrors, no, not for elementals. We got all right. We may come back to this because actually elementals might be pretty good. We would have to take these CR5 elementals down to CR4. But that might be a good exercise, although I don't really want to do that as a wandering. Yeth Hounds. Bolos 201. Let's take a look at that. I remember Yeth Hounds, they would have to be sent on a mission. They couldn't really be a random encounter. Let me make sure. Yeah, Minions of Dark Masters, Sound of Loom Doom. Yeah, they're not really going to work. They are summoned with a specific purpose. They're not really wandering monsters. Let's see. Fiends. We could have some wandering fiends. Let's look at the Babo. What is the Babo? 136. Okay, so yeah, I thought this might work. So a Babo is a favored demon of Gratz, and we do have another campaign going that heavily involves Gratz. It's actually occurring in the Abyss. Yep, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go with 4 Babos. It's a pretty cool beast, a pretty cool fiend. Yeah. So we're going to have a Babo. So, all right. So over here, I'm going to stack up. I'm going to stack up 4 encounters. I think this is going to go. We needed 8. I'm going to stack up 5 encounters. No, I'm going to stack up 4 encounters. We're going to shoot for kind of a short session. So 4 encounters. The first one. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it Chaos Roaming. And so the gist of these guys will be that that Gratz, as a byproduct of his conflict with minions or with adventurers from Dimgaard, has hit some of his Babos have come raiding, just sort of exploring, looking for something to exploit. And we run into PCs. All right, so that's the first one. So now that we actually need to take a think of the 3 actual combat encounters that we will be facing with regards to our evil crafter. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to give my crafter a name. So I'm going to come back over here to Fantasy Name Generator. I'm going to look for an evil name. Well, we will go with a necromancer name, because I found that they have some cool evil names. All right, so yeah, I like Neolic Malicious. All right, now I'm going to go back to my Word document. I'm going to enhance my adventure background. The illicit magic item crafter. By the way, this works in very well with a particular PC I have who has discerned the secret of how to turn a sea hag into a magic shield because they have natural armor. So this would explain how Neolac Malicious Neolac Malicious has come to learn of this group. Right, so Neolac Malicious has realized that the heroes could be valuable as the sacrifices for very powerful magic items. He is trying to, he has dispatched his primary agent. Right, and so we're not actually going to face Neolac. I like him as as maybe becoming part of canon. I really like that name. I really like what I'm setting up his role to be. So instead of acting on him directly in this adventure, he may be a very powerful foe at some future date. In the meantime, let's find a minion of his. I don't like Clarkwood. That doesn't sound thing. Zool Kane. Yeah, Steel Fang. Steel Fang. I like that. Steel Fang. His primary agent, Steel Fang. Retrieve at least one of the PCs. Steel has been tracking the PC's activities for days and if it looks like they will escape, we will put a plan in motion. All right. So Steel, all right, so I think Steel is going to be the climactic encounter. All right, so going back here to chasing, roaming, just out here, I'm going to say about, let me double check my math, make sure that it's going to be, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so that's going to be great scaling. 1 CR4 per PC. Okay, so we got the Babao. Okay, so I want to take a look at Steel. So Steel, he's going to be a 4th level. He's going to be a CR4. Let's see if we can squeeze some minions in. Yeah, so we know we can at least get a CR18. 1/4, yeah, CR1/4. No, not a one. No, let's look for any type. Not a 1/2. Okay, so we know that Steel can be a CR4 with a CR1/4 minion for 1 PC. Right, now let's look at 2 PCs. So for 2 PCs, let's see what happens if we bump Steel up to a CR5 and add another CR1/4. So he could be for 2, he could be a 5. For 3, he could be a 6 probably. Can be 6 with 3, right? So it looks here like on my initial, and I'm going to add this over here to the encounter structure. So for 11th level, right, for a legendary creature, he can be a CR3 plus 1 per PC, and he can have 1 CR1/4 minion per PC. The minions are going to be interesting. We'll look at those. I see something like a Princess Wizards, but we will get to that in the next episode. We need to get, right now the goal is to just sketch out the encounter contents, and then the next episode we will begin to actually build the encounters off of there. All right, so let me continue with Steel. It's 3 plus 4. It's 7. Yeah, I'm on 6 is 7. Okay, so at 7, it breaks down because now he's an easy encounter instead of a hard. I mean, at 4. So at 4 PCs, we're going to add 2 extra. 2 extra minions at 4 PCs. Yeah, so that's what that's going to look like. We're going to have steel is going to be CR3 plus 1 CR per PC. So he's going to finish up as a CR10. I'm sorry, CR11 with 8 PCs, and that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. He's going to have some CR1/4 minions, which we will get to at the time. Okay, so what are we going to call him? The crafter's agent. One PC. And he's going to be CR3. I'm going to put an L for legendary. CR3 plus 1 per PC. CR1/4 minions. PC. 4 plus equals plus 2 minions. I don't mind this spilling over like this because once I start working on it, all this stuff out here in parentheses will go away. All right, so I need 2 more. Okay, so Steel is going to send. So first of all, Steel would like, well, am I going to risk myself and my personal minions to retrieve these guys? No, I'm going to just try to hire some people, or maybe it could be members of the crew, right? And so I'm going to take a look at, if I go back to this, right, it says 2 CR2s per PC. 2 CR2s per PC. So let's look at what we got around CR2. Let's look at CR1 and 2. And because this is Dimgaard, we kind of need to be human-centric. So let's look at humanoids. Let's see. Spies have some interesting things we can do with them, but that's okay. I'm kind of inclined to head towards what would be on a boat. And I'm thinking that would be bandit captain. Bandit captains would be on the boat. I mean, they're not all captains, but we can flavor them. And if the PCs do not end up on the boat, that's fine. Bandit captains are such a widely ranging type of creature. All right, so he's going to buy off. So bought off. We'll say this for the bounty, because he's going to put a bounty out on a PC. In his bounty, he's just going to say, if you can deliver any of them to me. So that's going to be 2 bandit captains. I like bandit captains because they are just a very strong NPC. just really robust, have a lot of hit points for their CR, they have a lot of attacks for the CR, they have good ability scores. So I can add some cool and neat spell casting if I want to for PC. Let me go over here and make sure that this works. So let's put a bandit captain out there. Where did bandit captain go? Where did you go to, bandit captain? There you are. Let's get rid of these. Can you get rid of them all? There we go. Encounter. Bandit cat. Let's try you again. I could just use any CR2 for the calculations, but I'm going to try to stick to actually using that. Okay, so 1 CR11, 2 bandit captains, 2 CR11s, 4 bandit captains, 3 11 level PCs, 6 bandit captains, 4 11 level PCs, 8 bandit captains, 5 is 10, 6 is 12. 14. Yeah, we actually lapse into hard, but for 8 PCs, they're going to things should be hard if you're running a party that big, right? You have many more resources, so yeah, we're all right with that. Okay, so we're going to presume that fails, right? So the bandit captain fails. So he needs something else, something different than bandit captains. What could that be? Well, he could summon some sort of fiends, I guess. Or maybe since he has some constructs at his disposal. Let's see what we got for. I like helmed horrors. Helmed horrors, right? Here's the reason I like helmed horrors. They are a strong type. I can give them a good athletics score, and they can fly. So if they can render a PC unconscious, they can come in, boom, make him unconscious, and then grapple him because he can't resist once he's unconscious, and fly away. Yeah, so, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go, and we know that already works out. So, construct servants. 1 helmed horror for PC. Okay, so that's going to be a full suite. That's going to cover 3 hours worth of combat. That's good. So we could probably squeeze in a 5th one if we wanted to. See, 2 bandit captains is going to be 900. Remember, I was shooting for about 2,000 XP. So if I make those guys, if I raise those to a hard, go back here to a 2. Yeah, so my goal is actually to end up with these guys being a hard encounter. So, yeah, so we're looking at about a 25 or 50% increase. So 900 goes to 1,300. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be good. Yeah. Then I'm going to want. What do I want? I don't think there's going to be a skills check in here, is there? No, there's not going to be a skills check. Right. So here we're going to have a weather event. So a storm is going to break out. that is going to inflict damage, and probably something like a lightning strike that will not only inflict damage, but impose a condition like can't take reactions until it completes a long rest. Right. Right. So the bounty. So these guys actually. We're going to have beforehand. They're going to try to poison. So we're going to have a poison event, and then we are going to have after they're done a disease event. Yeah, it's 4, 5, 6, 7. But then after these guys, we're going to do this thing called post-traumatic stress. I like post-traumatic stress. And we can get into that. All right. So now that we have the 4 encounters that will comprise 8 events that together should take our PCs. We'll have a story word or 2 in there too that will take our PCs from 10th level, or from 11th level to 12th level. Okay, so that's good. So we will pick up there when next we meet.